Hi, I'm Stephen Budden. I help people heal their life, and I want to talk to you about women healing their relationship to the masculine, healing their relationship to men. Now, I do this in-person work, the Philomela Protocol, and it's about discovering where you're holding up in your body, holding back from trust, holding back from loving fully, holding back from surrendering, and releasing that. I got into this work after breaking my neck, led me down a path of finding the way into the body. I was very head-centered and I needed to find a way back to my own body. So I started training. I did this 3-year training with a shaman woman, and we relearned how to stand, we relearned how to walk, we relearned how to align our centers. And this was a very powerful experience for me personally, because I had hardly known the body existed other than conceptually. Yes, I sort of have a body. Then I learned to fall in love with it and embrace it and realize how profound every thought is on every cell. The influence of our thought on our body. Your body is a manifestation of your beliefs, to put it simply. And you can take that at the micro level or the macro level. You know, if you believe when you're older you're crippled and hunched over, that's you. And if you believe cells are behave in this way, then that's you. So there are scientifically agreed upon protocols or structures, and the ones you ascribe to, that's you. So you become this constellation of stories, this manifestation of your beliefs. And the reason I mention that is because one woman came to me with love issues. She was suffering from an abusive, narcissistic partner. They had separated, and he was still showing up and kind of using his tools of abuse to play the transactional game with her. So what I did was I knelt down and touched her feet, because I noticed that her feet were all bound up. And as we released one, all these tears, all this emotion, because she had not grieved the loss of her mother when she was a child. This was a left foot, grounding in the feminine. So she was able to finally sob, finally release that. And after feeling hopeless and locked down and disconnected from herself, she was able to feel joyous and open and connected and able to love for the first time. And then we did that a few weeks later with the other foot, and I found out, without having known, that there was another, her father had passed away a few years later, so that was in the right foot, the masculine grounding side. See, we don't even learn that the body functions in this way, that it's storing things for us to look at and process. We don't necessarily learn that. So this is profound in and of itself. The reason I work with women in healing relationship patterns, or have worked with women, is because I hung out the shingle and men didn't show up and women showed up. Men started to show up more and more over the years. This was in 2011. I would start to explain, like, you store things in your body, and as we open that up, you're going to experience like a dropping away of your armor, or opening up to love, all this stuff. And men would kind of be like, keep explaining that, because I don't believe you. There's a lot of layers to get through. And women would be like, oh, I need that. You don't even have to tell me anymore. I know what that is. My body is holding things. Let's get it out. There was another woman, she was laying on her back, and I was moving her leg around, like rotating the thigh. And she started convulsing, and she released this memory of being born when her leg was stuck. Now, she didn't have any idea that this was being carried in her body. However, in the pelvis and the pelvic area, you move your legs, right? Making love, for instance, you move your legs in a certain way, the partner comes closer. And can you imagine being regressed into infancy in this troublesome birth whenever you tried to connect with someone? This is why after that, her relationships were free to flourish and unfold. And she had been in abusive relationships because the signals were all mixed up. Like, it's so uncomfortable whenever I do this. Let's make it more uncomfortable, right? Because that in some sense makes some sense. It's uncomfortable anyway. Let's get into some sadistic behavior that makes it more uncomfortable, because that's what it is. And that's where the thrill is. And actually, that's the body bringing attention back to what needs to be resolved and healed. You'll always get like a recapitulation or repeating of patterns forever until you get the lesson and repeat those. And this has happened countless times. There is sexual trauma in the body of a woman, and it has to do with a man having betrayed them or abused them or damaged them, and the man not necessarily being evil, the man just coming as a teenager, like, I'm so excited, let's get together, jumping in without any foreplay, without any warming up, without any lubrication, emotional or energetic or physical. And so this could create trauma in and of itself. One client, she turned in a certain way and I was adjusting her shoulder and she just started weeping and weeping and weeping. I'm like, what is that? And she was like, a father figure looked at me kind of lustily when I was a kid, and I never forgave men. So it just took this little getting in touch with that memory to realize, because while you carry that thing against the father figure or whoever, every man is that person. So you're stuck in the world of archetypes. That man, oh, he looked at me like that. He looked at me like that. That's bad. It's both bad and good. You start to kind of cross the wires, mix the signals. And once you get to clear that, you're like, oh, I can see people more as the individuals they are. He has these qualities. She has these qualities. He has these qualities, etc. And that frees you up. That's why I don't come to the equation saying, like, I know about women, I'm going to show you how to be a woman, because that doesn't make any sense. Like, women are as equally mysterious to me as they are to you, as they are to anyone. And that's the beauty. That's like the mystery of nature, or the mystery of the cosmos that the mind can't contain. Perfect. So all I do is I go there and I hold space. Like, I'm a master at healing certain kinds of trauma, and what I do is I just hold space for when that arises. So it's like I don't really do anything. Someone else, some other force, something else does something. I just hold the space there, and I just have learned how to do that. So that's been very fortunate. And in that way, women are able to heal their body, come into alignment, become like really happy and fulfilled in love. So whether you're a man or a woman watching this, you know that, like, sometimes when people come together to make love, most people are not fully present, right? You're making love to a ghost. They're 20% in the past, their broken heart still rattling in the past. They can't come together, there's no way to come together. Why don't we consider building up our presence and our awareness to come together? In this culture, everything's so scattered. And then if you're on the digital and there's 10 conversations in your mind, you go to the other, they're crying because something happened yesterday. They haven't expressed it because they hadn't learned how. So you come together and there are these two beings that are kind of like ghosts, ships passing in the night. And then how fulfilling can love be? Not very. So what we do is we bring the consciousness, we bring the presence to the moment again so that you can be fulfilled in relationship. And this Philomela protocol, where we get in touch in person and I release lifetimes of trauma in hours instead of years without tedious and expensive therapy, requiring a significant investment and being the most powerful transformational method in the world. This is not the only way to engage this process. You can learn in transactional analysis, you can learn the games people play, which Eric Berne said in, I think, 1964 when he wrote the book Games People Play, that a lot of people's relating in relationship are their games, in the sense that someone's playing an adult role, someone's playing a child role. So you need to get it to where you're both adults interacting as adults, and that's the most fulfilling relationship. For now, he didn't know if that was possible. Some people like some games. There's always a reward with some game. You just have to bring to consciousness what the games are. So when you say, like, oh, I'm sick today. You know what your response you're eliciting, or my back hurts today, or I'm so busy. You know what response you're eliciting. You're inviting someone into another game. That's one thing. Another piece is we don't know how to communicate necessarily. Like, the quality of your communication is in the results you're getting, which is an NLP proverb, and that's true. So whenever you go to someone all joyous and loving, and you go to them and you're like, hey, da da da, they get all mad. You're like, that's not what I meant to say. It's because the communication has not been honed. It's not coming from your heart center. It's not aligned with the body, etc. So I do show people in any of these protocols. I designed the Rapture protocol to introduce all of this to people so that they can have better relationships in the world. Imagining an ideal city where people can relate adult to adult, where people can not relate out of their wounds and their traumas, where people can actually be in love for who the other one is. As Sam Keen once wrote, to love woman, archetype, to love woman, individual, to love a woman, leave woman behind. That's what it is. Leave the archetype behind. We're continually triggered by these archetypes. That's what makes this so difficult for most people. And the archetype is that you've been wounded in the past, and the people that arise up are the victimizers, and you are the victim. And sometimes it's vice versa. Someone who's wounded, we hurt, so we hurt. We hurt, so we hurt others, so they hurt, so we hurt, so we hurt, etc. It's like a loop. Let's get out of that. That's a beautiful, powerful thing. So, if you're curious about this rapture protocol, which leads up to this Philomela protocol, then comment rapture. This isn't the religious rapture. This is the rapture of like being it's still a divine state. It's in flow. It's lit up. You may know my origin story. You can find it in other videos, a broken neck and an awakening experience, and a whole host of really crappy relationships, to tell you the truth. And part of the origin was this: when a partner had almost killed herself, I ran to the apartment because she wasn't answering the phone. I found her lying there with a knife near her wrist, and I was like, oh, I'm done with this. I wasn't done with it. I needed a little bit more. However, I gradually lifted myself out of it. I was done with it. However, I didn't know how to get out of it. So relationships were a heavy thing before, where I had these ideals of love that were so lofty, and then like, oh, the actual relationship is terrible. Those things must just exist in fantasies. Now I have a more objective view. I can love with my whole heart. I can be present with my whole body. I know when I'm shutting down. I can say what I mean, and it can be received. And I can listen and watch my own thoughts and respond and have an adult-to-adult relationship, which is beautiful. I still fail sometimes, still regress into childhood. And I catch myself sooner, come back out, be like, yes, beautiful. I caught myself. Now the game is mastering this relationship to life. And this relationship to life happens in the relationship to other people. So isn't that powerful? Isn't that beautiful? So, yes, I look forward to seeing you on the other side. And comment rapture. I'll send you a few questions to see where you're at, what you need. And thank you so much. I love you. I'll see you on the other side. Bye.